Hello there. Welcome to the stream.
We back.
This is LTMB Live. I'll be trying to think of new ways to do the intro now.
But see, every time you probably think of new ways to do the intro, it probably, like, in your head, it probably comes off as being kind of corny.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It always ends up being like a, hey, what's going on, everybody? What's up, everybody? I was like, all right, well, how can I like put some more flavor on that, man? But then when I think about it, like you said, it's like, it's probably pretty whack. It's pretty whack.
I think it's one of those things, if you feel it one day.
Yeah.
If you feel it one day.
It'd have to be natural.
Yeah, it'd have to be organic. So then you can do it. But if you try to like force it, then it looks staged and it looks stupid. Because it ain't you. Because I'm not
laugh
like
at myself first.
Yeah. Because I'm not personally, I'm not a showman.
Nah.
I'm not like a showman.
Nah.
Like, occasionally my personality will come out every now and then, but
But intros are just, I'm sorry. I'll try to do a better job.
Like, even our promo video, we did a few takes, didn't we? That was a while ago.
A few.
We did a few takes.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think the promo looks good is because of the way it was cut. Yeah. Not necessarily because of what we were doing.
Right. That's true.
The person we had cut it for us.
Holla holla? No, I'm not doing that.
Oh, hell no. Nobody says that no more either.
No, that's true.
Nobody
says she can sing an intro. That still requires us to have some kind of introduction still, though.
Moose, you can sing? Moose, you can sing. I don't want you to...
Hey. Maybe she can blow. Maybe she can blow.
Maybe she got some bars. Maybe she freestyle or something.
But anyway, we are glad to be back after the long weekend and have a lot to unpack tonight. We are broadcasting on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope Live. So if you're on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And please hit that bell as well so that you get all the alerts from LTMB. Last week, talked about the third Democratic presidential debate. That was the whole show on Friday.
That was like a 5-hour show?
I think it was at least a 4-hour show. Yeah, I think it was at least 4 hours.
We started a little after 6. I think we were going to almost 11.
Was it? Damn, if it was. It could have been.
It was about 4.
You might be right.
It was about 4.5 hours.
You might be
I feel
right.
like it was.
We do need, need to put some markings on the video.
Oh, you mean like like
timestamps
for particular topics.
Right.
Yeah, true that.
Do need to do
especially with videos that long.
Yeah, true that. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about. I really don't have much to say about Corey Lewandowski testifying.
I really don't
today.
either. I don't have much to say about that, considering that if a I wouldn't call him a journalist, but if a pundit on television or a host on any news network doesn't tell their audience that he is named in the Mueller report like over 100 times, they don't kind of disclose that and give it context to why he's testifying and why he is kind of so adamant that this is just a witch hunt. Yeah, it's because he is involved in it. He has a lot of involvement. Yeah. He is a kind of a part of this kind of conspiracy. So
I think it was predictable what happened today with him pretty much stonewalling and filibustering, not wanting to answer questions. I think that was predictable. He is a Trump. Maybe I can't even say he's a Trump stooge, because that would kind of be saying that he's doing the bidding for Trump, as in like maybe unwilling. No, I think he's very much willing to do the bidding for Trump and try to paint this whole narrative as, like you said, a witch hunt. Nothing going on here.
I would too. I would too if I was involved.
Yeah,
I would too. I would say it's nothing here. I would say it was nothing to see here as well if I was directly involved with some of the individuals that are either indicted or serve jail time for lying to the FBI, or yeah, because a lot of the communications between him and people on the Trump transition team, a lot of the communications between them are in the Mueller report, and they look kind of suspicious. So I don't know.
Let's leave that though. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I think it was predictable what happened today. All right, so yes, well, yeah. Now coming off of last week's presidential debate, the third one of this campaign season, there's a new poll out. This one's not a national poll. This one is a state poll for California. It was conducted by Emerson University, and it was released Tuesday. And it does show that Biden and Sanders are the front runners. They both have 26% support each. They're followed by Senator Elizabeth Warren in third place with 20%. No other candidate has double digits, according to this poll. So the fourth candidate is Andrew Yang at 7%. Kamala Harris from California is in fifth place at 6%. Beto O'Rourke is at 5%, and Pete Buttigieg is at 4%. Every other candidate is either at 2% or 1%, or actually 2% or lower. Actually, I think the only one that's at 2% is Tulsi Gabbard, actually, who was not even there at the last debate, but she came in at 2%. People like Klobuchar she's at 0%. Cory Booker is at 1%. Pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Captain America is slipping.
Captain America
is slipping.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Now, of course,
that's Rosario. That's what Rosario Dawson. That's how Rosario.
That's her boo.
Dawson. That's her boo. That's how Rosario Dawson refers to Cory Booker. So that's not us.
No, not us. But yeah, as I've said many times before, it's still very early on. These polls should be taken with a grain of salt. You can't put too much weight into them. I'm sure that they matter to some degree, but we're still months away from the first primary, first caucus. So, like I said, just take it with a grain of salt. But these numbers, if you believe any of the other polls, then you have to, give this the same kind of credence. You have to give it the same kind of weight. Again, when I say take it with some degree of salt, the respondents, I believe there were 830 registered voters that responded to this poll. It was conducted using landline phones. Also, there was an online panel provided by Amazon Turk, whatever that is. So, landline phones.
I like how you kind of, it seemed like you put some more emphasis on that phrase.
Yeah.
Landline phone.
Landline phones, which people do still have, no doubt.
My parents still have one.
Yeah, many people do. I would think that it's more of a older person type of thing, even though I'm sure younger people do have landline phones. Especially if you have if you have cable from your cable company, they like to bundle that with your service.
Because I know some people like to keep it just in case.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of young people and middle-aged people that still have it, but still, it is not a. I don't think it's a common thing. I don't think it stands for the majority of people under 40.
So what you trying to get at? Are you trying to say that?
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, because the sample size is important.
Yeah,
Like
and just how it's
what
conducted
demographic
as well.
is included in that sample size.
Right.
So
now, among black people, as according to this poll, Biden is leading the way at 59%. No other candidate comes within 40 percentage points of him, which is disappointing. Again, you do have to acknowledge how these tallies were gained. And like I said, landline phones, older generation. Doesn't matter what older generation it is. I'm talking about what, if it's black, white, Hispanic, Latino, it doesn't matter what they are. They don't tend to be the most progressive of folks. So if they're leaning towards Joe Biden, I don't know if that's overall surprising. Yeah.
Like, I know this sounds bad, but if, we're talking about older people, again, I know it sounds bad, but how many of them are invested in the future?
Damn.
I'm being for real. I mean, like, as far as like the future in a larger standpoint, like, yes, they're concerned about the future in their like immediate life. I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to the retirement, when it comes to maybe their families, making sure their families are taken care of, wills and inheritance and whatnot, like in their immediate life.
Right.
But like, how much energy do they have and how much vested interest do they actually have in the future? I know that sounds like a question that kind of suggests some selfishness there, but I think it's not necessarily selfish, it's natural.
So you're speaking to the majority of them.
Yeah, it's natural. I don't think it's necessarily selfish, but I think it's natural.
It's possible. Of course, there are many older people, senior citizens, 60, 70, 80 years old that still do follow politics and they vote very actively. And they are actually interested in the future of this world, future of this country. And they do let that guide them when they're voting. But there are probably a lot of people like the ones you're talking about as well.
I think people tend to vote for like the moment. I think people tend to worry about like, hey, like how is this going to impact me? And it's not necessarily like a bad thing. I just think that maybe if your experience guides your politics, and politics itself has progressed, right, since you were the most active. I just think that at a certain age, especially if you're like 50 or 60 or 70, I think your vision about politics is usually shaped around your experience. That doesn't mean you don't care about other people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's where all the boomer memes come from.
Yeah, it does.
That's where all the boomer memes come from. Like, hey, I did it, so why can't y'all?
Right. I agree. But yeah, like I said, that was the, or at least that's one of the first polls that have been released since the third debate. And really, this poll in particular, California, the one that I'm looking at, take it with a grain of salt, like I said, but still the one that I'm looking at, is Kamala Harris.
Yo, like when you were going over those numbers, that kind of jumped out at me, and who was above her jumped out at me.
Yeah.
Like even if you're taking it, with a grain of salt, there is a sample size out there.
Yes.
That I think there is a sample size out there that favors him. So
over Senator Kamala Harris from California.
Even considering like the sample size and how limited it is. That sample size likes Drew more than Kamala Harris. Now, what do you attribute that to?
I really, she's just, I don't know if it has a lot to do with the debates, or maybe it's her just not separating herself, or I really don't know. I really thought that before this whole really, like, I guess like the heart of this campaign season really kicked off, we were expecting Kamala Harris to have a pathway paved out for her.
Well, she kind of did. I mean, it appeared as if the DNC was trying to set it up that way,
right?
With moving California's primary
to the beginning. Much,
I just don't think that was a coincidence.
No, I do not.
But I mean, I don't think even they can predict how the campaign season is going to play out, or two, the primaries. So even if they're setting it up, they still have to kind of make calculations, even as the primaries go forward, and even as the campaign season moves forward, because I'm pretty sure they didn't know she was going to take it on the chin.
No.
At a couple of the debates.
Yeah, a couple of these debates.
I'm pretty sure she didn't know that. I'm pretty sure that they didn't know she was going to have an interview recently with what's that guy? I forgot his name. I forgot who she had an interview with, but she sat down for an interview, and the conversation was healthcare, and dude made her look bad.
Yeah, the disabled
dude.
Guy.
Yeah, the disabled guy, and like you could tell she was sitting there listening intently, but the wheels were turning like shit.
Yeah, I mean he was challenging her, and that's to put it nicely. He did it in a very respectful way.
And did it in a respectful way. He was like, hey, your plan doesn't do this, this, and this. Your plan won't help me and people like me.
Why do you keep calling it Medicare for all?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, maybe, just maybe, she's not making the kind of headway that the DNC establishment thought she would by now. You know what I'm saying? Because remember she met with, Obama's donors?
She did.
Over a year ago? I want to say a year
maybe
ago.
Not a year ago.
No, maybe not a year ago.
No.
But she met with Obama's donors maybe 6 to 7 months ago. And she recently had a fundraiser in the Hamptons.
That's right. And that's where she said that Bernie's Medicare for All is not something she supports anymore.
After taking a visit to the Hamptons for a, let's say, a very high-class fundraiser.
Yeah. Again, man, just the overall reaction to Kamala Harris has not been, it just hasn't been that good. It just hasn't been that good. And again, this is noteworthy because, again, this particular poll is about California. At least me, I thought that in the state of California, she would probably have a lot of support. I just thought that. Turns out that's not the case.
Yeah, based on this poll.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting since they did move California's primary up. It would be interesting to see those results. Wouldn't it be kind of damning?
Whew.
Would it be damning?
So California, I believe that's Super Tuesday. I believe it's on Super Tuesday, right? Now that's with a lot of other states as well. If she does not perform well on Super Tuesday, especially in California, the biggest prize in primary season, I say she drops out. I think she drops out. You can't even win your own state.
A state that carries a lot of electoral points. Yeah. Well,
I mean, if she comes within, if she comes in number 4, I honestly don't see how she stays in. I don't see how she stays in if she comes in number 4. She's going to have to somehow find a way to pierce that support of the top three. And I don't know how she does it, but that's what she's gonna have to do. But like I said in that last debate, man, she Tulsi Gabbard wasn't on the stage, but the question that was given to her by one of the moderators, that was a significant fist to chin moment.
So two debates in a row, she took it on the chin.
Yes.
And I don't think she recovered.
Nah.
It's one of those things where it's possible that, a candidate can recover after something like that. If they either have a strong answer or maybe some media appearances kind of smooth it over, but we haven't seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen the resiliency of Kamala Harris
but
yet.
Dog, the K-Hive on social media is strong as hell, though.
It is.
Oh, my gosh.
It is. But that doesn't translate to actual support.
Ooh, man.
Actual votes. I don't know if that translates, man. But anyway, so let's leave that there. We're going to stay with the election 2020 season. We've talked about Joe Biden many times on this program. We've talked about his multiple gaffes and his misstatements, his irresponsible word choice, harkening back to earlier times, and a lot of problems with his campaign overall. On Tuesday, President Trump's campaign manager, Brad Parscale, he tweeted out a video, and this was to mock Joe Biden and all of those gaffes. And he added that caption, "You just wonder." So we're going to play you this video and then come back and discuss.
President Obama reportedly told Joe Biden directly, quote, "You don't have to do this, Joe. You really don't."
That is not a joke. That is a natural fact.
I think Biden looked unsteady at many points.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone.
He's not the most polished speaker anymore.
The president my friend from Vermont thinks that.
Watching his long, winding answers that don't really make sense in recent debates has also raised the question as to whether that has gotten worse and whether he is up for this.
The fact is that the bills that the future president here.
There's a lot of people who are concerned about Joe Biden's ability to carry the ball all the way across the end line without fumbling.
Go to Joe 30330.
He looked kind of unsteady and almost deer in the headlights.
So what are we doing? What's going on right now?
He's not that good at this. I mean, he's clearly not that strong a candidate, thinking on his feet.
Anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry.
I think there are some concerns, and they've been expressed by Democrats themselves.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Over whether Joe Biden is equipped to withstand a very grueling campaign.
We choose truth over facts.
Joe Biden was really shaky, both because he was stumbling through his answers.
I'm the vice president of the United States.
And also because the substance of those answers hasn't really gotten better.
Those details are irrelevant.
I think we're going to see growing questions, wondering if he has the mental and physical stamina to get through this campaign.
I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? And what a neat town.
Obama warned Biden's aides to make sure Biden didn't embarrass himself.
Imagine what would have happened if, God forbid, Barack Obama had been assassinated.
Real conversation that is happening among Democrats. Has he lost a step? Is he too shaky?
I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
What's that Steve Carell gif where he's like biting his lip?
Mm-hmm. That one hurt.
I will say that was well put together.
That was a bang up job done by somebody in politics, just to put forward a campaign video, an ad, a negative ad on somebody.
That was actually not a personal attack.
No, it wasn't a personal attack. This was a great job done by Brad Parscale. I can't even lie.
Did you hear the music that was playing in the background?
Terrific.
That little piano, that little ominous piano, like you don't want this guy as president. Be wary. That was well done. And you know, here's the thing.
Bad look, man. It's a bad look.
It doesn't matter that Trump is a gaffe machine himself.
No.
It doesn't matter that Trump tells 50 lies a day. It doesn't matter that he tries to use government institutions to attack his opponents, and he weaponizes, the State Department and tries to get them to investigate his political enemies. All that doesn't matter, because if he can point to something that's true, that's an advantage to him, because we know his supporters don't care about all that side stuff.
Right.
The election is over a year away. We're just a few months into this, and they already have all of this.
This is September 2019.
They have all this already. They can just use this for the rest for a whole year and it'll be fine. Yep. They don't have to make another campaign ad.
No,
they don't have to.
No. But Joe Biden keeps giving them material though, so they're going to be able to add to it.
Yes, they will. They will be able to add to it. They have so much already, and you know what? They didn't even use all the material they could have.
Of course not. There's so much,
and it's early.
Look, I'll say this. Like I said, I think it was a bang-up job done by Brad Parscale and Trump's campaign team. Really, that we're not in support of, Trump 2020 at all. But if you're looking at this thing objectively and how candidates and their team are able to drive home their point and drive home the point that somebody is either not qualified or should just not elicit the support of people, you have to see this and say, man, the goal here was reached. I think they reached their goal. If this was about the candidate that I preferred, if this was about the candidate that I supported, I would be alarmed. I would be really alarmed, because this presents an accurate. I had to say it like that. This presents an accurate depiction of Joe Biden. So that's why, like you said, it's not personal. They did the best job they could to just let Joe's words do the talking for them. All they did was just clip different pieces of either him talking or commentators talking about what he has done or said. So it is an accurate, I'll say it right. It is an accurate depiction of Joe Biden. And if he was who I supported, my gosh, you can't cry foul. You cannot cry foul. So what can you do?
Because they're capitalizing off a legitimate weakness. That's what they're doing. And Biden makes that easy.
It's too easy.
And if you're looking at all the Democratic candidates, Joe Biden is the easiest candidate to do that to. You see what I'm saying? That's why if Joe Biden gets his nomination, we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose.
So it's already written. It's already written for you.
Dang.
It's already written.
I think it's written. I don't think you can go into an election with a guy like that. I don't think you can go into an election with a guy like that. And those clips of Cory Booker, oh my gosh.
Wow.
Which is interesting because Julian Castro is taking it on the chin.
Yeah.
Because they're saying his comments during the debate were like ageism.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But those are very quick comments in the moment.
Yeah.
A lot of these other comments, like the ones from Cory Booker, they were just a little more damning.
Let's be honest. You can throw Cory Booker's analysis out because he's a contender, So you might be saying, oh, he's playing it up a little bit. Is it just Cory Booker that's saying this?
No.
Is it just Julian Castro that's saying this? No. There are a multitude of people that are in the engagement of politics. They have either, positions or they're media talking heads or whatever.
Journalists.
Yeah, journalists.
Pundits,
and they're saying the same thing.
So basically, I guess Joe and people on his campaign, like Simone Sanders, they're trying to say, hey, this stuff doesn't matter. Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
This doesn't matter.
Yeah. Again, if this was the candidate that I supported, Trump being able to use this for his re-election campaign, he didn't even use his own words. You didn't see one shot of Donald Trump bad-mouthing Joe Biden at all. You didn't see any Trump stooges or anybody talking about Joe Biden and trying to present some kind of false argument as what is the case against Joe Biden. None of that. All they did was use his own words.
He used his own words and the words of people within his own party. And they used the words of hosts of what you would call, like, I guess, liberal news shows. That was purposeful.
Yep.
That was purposeful.
It was a good job. Like I said, just noting the work done here. Not saying that you support it or whatever, but this was a very good job done by Trump's campaign team. And, it was months ago I said that I didn't think, I don't know if I went so far as to say I don't think it matters who the Democratic nominee is, but the notable ones, I didn't think it mattered. I thought they had a very good shot at defeating Trump.
And
now, several months later, I don't feel the same way at all. With more information, more gaffes from Joe Biden, and now that he looks like an even worse candidate than Hillary Clinton, oh goodness.
I would say at least Hillary Clinton was able to construct sentences without slurring her words.
Yep.
I don't think she had dentures, but she didn't have to worry about her teeth falling out, which has happened to Joe Biden. I think there was an occasion where he was up on stage during a speech where his eye started bleeding as well.
Right.
So there's there's a legitimate issue, with Joe Biden. And the conversation does not have to surround ageism.
Yeah.
There's serious, health concerns.
Now, Che Zeus in the chat makes a point. He said, I think the ad was put out too early. If Trump wants to win, his campaign should pretend to be scared of Biden instead of making him lose the primary. So that is an interesting point, because if he is, like, if this ad does what Trump wants to do and it really attacks at the, the notion that Biden is the best candidate. If it attacks that notion and somehow he does lose the primary, then this probably would be a mistake by the Trump campaign, because I think they want to go up against somebody like Biden rather than Bernie Sanders or maybe even Elizabeth Warren. I don't know. I mean, only time is going to tell that. But I know Joe Biden is most likely going to at least go all the way through the primary.
Yeah, I think that is a great point to make. Assuming that there's not going to be any more material that Biden offers, which I don't think is the case. Just based on his track record and based on what we've seen so far during the campaign season, I think he's going to provide Donald Trump with ample material to work with. But I will say that's a good point.
It is a good point.
I just don't think that Trump or his campaign was going to sit on this that long.
Right.
They're going to. I think they're not going to sit on the sidelines during this Democratic campaign season.
I think even in the chat, and some people have speculated that that Biden will not make it all the way through the primaries. The only reason I think he will is because it doesn't look as though there is another candidate that is going to fill that lane, that centrist lane that, excuse me, the establishment Democrat lane, maybe Klobuchar gets some more support, and maybe we're having a different conversation in a few months. I don't know, but as it looks right now, Joe Biden is filling that lane. To make this only a two-person race and it's going to be Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, I don't think the DNC or like I said, the heart of the Democratic Party is going to want to see that.
Yeah, but I mean I guess that's true, but do they have any other options though?
Yeah, I mean that's.
I do think there are a few options left if Joe Biden, can't sustain his campaign any longer or for a long period of time or stick it out. I think there are a couple of other options like Buttigieg, O'Rourke.
Could either one of those actually challenge Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, though?
Buttigieg seems to be doing that right now.
I don't know if he's challenging them.
No. I just mean like in behavior, not challenging them in like, I guess, what you talking about, like tangibles?
Yeah, just
tangible poll numbers.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. You're right. But I'm just talking about like rhetorically.
Rhetorically.
You remember that, like that interview? He was talking about Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren's politics polarizing the country.
Right.
So he seems to be kind of taking steps to be that challenger if Joe Biden backs away or drops out.
I agree. But I just don't. I don't think that he could get to the point where he's actually going to challenge them when it comes to like actual votes. Biden,
because of the demographic, he won't appeal to the same demographic.
No, Biden, what he has working for him is that he's an old name and he did work in the Obama administration. That is really the only thing that is going for good old Joe Biden right now. That's the only thing going for him.
That's why
there's nothing else.
That's why he has some support from black people.
That's it. It's not how well he's performing. It's definitely not that. The only thing is his past. That's it. And it's only a particular it's like those 8 years. Really, it's just those 8 years that are really doing what it's doing for him. Because prior to those 8 years, this guy was not a good politician. He supported many awful things. So you would think people would, kind of target those or focus on those issues, that voting record, but they don't. It's just those 8 years as the vice president.
Yeah, because if they did focus on those issues, then they'd write him off because those issues have been highlighted during the Democratic debates.
Yep.
And he has not been able to muster a good answer for any of those things, whether it be immigration, whether it be the crime bill, whether it be the war in Iraq, any of that stuff. But I will say one thing that Joe Biden has done, at least for me, I don't know whether this is good or bad, but he's caused me to crave something.
What's that?
I've just developed a craving over the last week.
And this is because of Joe Biden.
This is because of Joe Biden. Again, this might be a good thing or might be a bad thing. But lately, I've been craving Kellogg's Corn Pops. I don't know why. There's got to be a reason.
Kellogg's Corn
Pops. Corn Pops.
No sugar?
No sugar. But he makes me crave. Something. I don't know what he does, but it's something every time when I look at him lately, just lately though, just coming on lately. When I look at him, I just crave Corn Pops.
That's something. I want to put on records.
Oh, you want to put on records?
I want to put on some records.
You want to put on records?
Yeah, lately I've been having this this feeling like I need to purchase in 2019 a record player.
I went into the store. I was like looking at like stuff for my hair, like keep my hair moisturized. And I was like, something popped in my head. And I was like, I wonder how pomade would look on my head. Pomade. I wonder how pomade would look. Would that work with my locks, man? Can I use pomade on my locks?
I don't think so.
Word? Pomade don't work?
I don't think so. No, I don't think that'll work at all.
I don't know. Where did I get that from?
I don't know, man.
Where did I get that from, man? Why did that pop in my head?
Might have been Joe.
Might have been Joe too?
Might have been Joe.
Might have been Joe too.
Might have been Joe.
Might have been Joe too. Yo, man. Where did the straight razor come from? Why is the straight razor in my pocket? When did I start carrying around a straight razor?
Oh, a straight razor.
Straight razor, man. I got a straight razor. For some reason, I got a straight razor in my pocket.
From 1943 or so?
I don't know, man. I don't even remember buying it. Yeah. It's just there now.
That's a
Look, man, I don't know when I'm gonna.
It's a relic.
Look, man, you never know. You might get into a fight, by a pool or something. You might need it. You might get into a fight by a pool, dog.
It's possible. It's possible, man.
Yeah. So yeah, well, we'll move on.
All right. So let's get to the Working Families Party. The Working Families Party officially endorsed a candidate for President of the United States on Tuesday. That candidate is Senator Elizabeth Warren. And she was very happy about the news on social media. She posted herself holding up her computer with the news of her endorsement. Now, this news was not received well by many people. Many people who are in support of Senator Bernie Sanders. So it was 2016 when Bernie Sanders ran for president that he captured the Working Family Party's endorsement, and that was over Hillary Clinton at the time. This time around, the spokesperson for the Working Families Party, Rob Duffy, he told The Hill that Warren won about 61% of the ranked choice vote. So also Maurice Mitchell, who is the Working Family Party's national director, he was interviewed by Chris Cuomo on CNN on Monday night. So we have a clip of that interview that we like to show you. All right, we don't have the video, at least not yet. We're gonna have to. We have some problems here, but anyway, we're gonna get the video to you. But anyway, so before we get to that video, we can talk a bit about this endorsement and why Bernie Sanders people are upset with this. To go from Bernie Sanders in 2016 to now Elizabeth Warren in 2020 seems a bit of an odd choice, given what the Working Family Parties is trying to do here. So, can you come up with any sort of rationale behind the decision to go with Elizabeth Warren this time?
Probably, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to go with the safe candidate. Maybe they're, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, they supported Hillary Clinton after she won the nomination.
Right.
So, obviously, they make certain concessions. They even said last year that Hillary Clinton was not the best candidate. Right. Hillary Clinton was not the perfect candidate. So that's what they said. So they understand that they have to make some concessions and they have to support certain people regardless of whether they 100% line up with their agenda or their views. Now in that case, Hillary Clinton had already won the nomination. Mm-hmm. And she was going up against Trump. So it made sense. This time, it's really early.
It is early.
It's really early.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I don't know. This just seems weird. I'm trying not to be mad. I'm trying not to be mad simply because I support Bernie Sanders. But it does seem odd considering that, Bernie Sanders is the closest representation or closest representative to that organization's agenda. Right. So I'm just kind of baffled here. But one thing that did stand out to me in the article that you sent was that their choice of candidate support for some other races, because they supported Crowley over AOC.
Joe Crowley in New York's 14th over AOC. Yes, they did. Also, they supported the challenger to Teach Out in New York in 2014. So there's some questionable decisions that this party has made in the past, in recent past. This was just last year with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And I saw something, and I can't say whether this was official or not. But after the fact, after Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez did capture the nomination, then they endorsed her. And I saw some type of apology type thing, like they went towards Joe Crowley because he had made some moves to the left. You know, he was apparently supporting $15 minimum wage. He was supportive of Medicare for all, I believe they said. I'm not sure about that. But you know, it's still, you know, I don't know. It seems a little fake. You know, if you're really about what you say you're about, you didn't understand what the difference was between Joe Crowley and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
There has to be some sort of behind-the-scenes deal-making going on. There has to be some sort of behind-the-scenes deal-making going on.
Oh, well, you know, I don't think many people heard what I said because I had my mic off. But yeah, what we're going to do now is we're going to show the video that we were going to show in the first place. And this is Maurice Mitchell. He is the Working Family Party's national director, and on Monday night he was interviewed by CNN's Chris Cuomo.
Thousands of people showed up for Elizabeth Warren's rally this evening here in New York. The senator had some new ammo on her side, an endorsement from the Working Families Party. They are a progressive group that had previously given its support to Bernie Sanders in 2016. We have Maurice Mitchell. He's the national director for the Working Families Party joining me now. Pleasure to see you.
Pleasure, Chris. Thanks for having me.
So, why Warren and not Sanders?
So let me just first say that it's 2019 and we have two structural change, big, bold, progressive candidates that have built huge grassroots followings in the democratic process.
But you picked one. Why?
Right. And so our grassroots members and our volunteers and our state committee, we engaged in a very long process and we came out. And I'm so proud of the process and so proud that we chose Elizabeth Warren. And let me tell you why. So, I mean, if you look at her, you know, they joke about she has a plan for it, right? But if you look at it and you take a step back, so Green New Deal, so we could save the planet, a historically big picture housing policy, the Medicare for all, to take the insurance companies between you and your doctor, right? So healthcare could be a right and not a commodity that's traded.
Bernie
right?
does the same things,
right?
and he wrote the damn bill.
That's absolutely right, and we have so much respect for Bernie and his followers. And in 2016, we endorsed Bernie. In 2020, you have a field of dozens of candidates, and so we wanted to engage in a process that was deeply democratic, where we could decide early what to do, even as the field was still shaking out. The reason we did it is because that time is one resource that when you lose it, you never could recoup.
Fine. So what was the difference between the two with so much sameness?
So what I could talk about positively is why we endorsed Warren. And again, like I have nothing but positive things to say about Bernie, his followers, and his movement. And I think it's a plus for working people, the people that we represent, that we have two candidates that are advancing this. And I think, you know, you saw the debate stage where they flanked each other, right? And so we want to encourage that with fellow travelers who agree with the policy change in both camps, to flank these ideas and to organize. And we encourage other organizations.
I'm with you, but here's why I'm pushing.
In. Please,
here's why I'm pushing.
Let's go.
Because let's get after it. Here's why.
Yeah.
Because you could argue they're splitting the vote, okay? And I'm asking you why her and not him when it was him the last time. And when you say why you picked her, I'm not arguing with your reasons.
Yeah.
You're allowed to your process. But they check the same boxes.
Well, listen. we did a ranked choice vote. So we didn't
So this was a vote of members.
This was a vote of members and our national committee, which are grassroots activists that are part of people's organizations.
And more voted for her than him.
Absolutely.
So that's what.
All right. So some other words by Maurice Mitchell, and this was cited in an article on, I believe it was on thenation.com. So you could see that he was speaking about Bernie Sanders in a favorable light. He didn't attack him. He didn't really say why why his organization, the Working Families Party, does not support Bernie in this 2020 election. So on that article in The Nation, he's quoted as saying, quote, "But in the end, we believe this campaign is too important to sit on the sidelines," end quote. I thought that was a really interesting quote because who was sitting on the sidelines in 2016? That was Elizabeth Warren, who failed to endorse either Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders. It's just a little ironic that they too did not sit on the sidelines in 2016, but they're endorsing somebody that did. That's, like I said, it's just a little bit ironic. I agree that they're entitled to their process. I agree that with his words saying that this is a much larger field right now, so there are more options to choose from. I'm good with all of that. But in making that choice, you have to, given what your direction was in 2016 and your direction was Bernie Sanders, given that direction, in 2020, you're going to have to answer the question, why not Bernie Sanders in 2020? Like, why is there somebody different? Why is there somebody better? If that person is better, you're going to have to explain why. But Maurice Mitchell chose to highlight Elizabeth Warren on the Green New Deal, which Bernie Sanders supports. He highlighted her housing policy, which I believe Bernie Sanders has definitely talked about housing before.
And actually, Bernie's housing policy is better.
Yes. Also, Medicare for All, which Elizabeth Warren waffles on the subject of Medicare for All. So it seems as this is like a joke because I can't understand how this could be real. Also, something that we've talked about many, many times. Well, no, actually not many times, but I believe we talked about this last week. And that is how Elizabeth Warren is going to take all the money that she can get her hands on when it comes to the general election. Now, she's not going to do that during the primaries, but she doesn't want to, what was that term that she said? I can't remember exactly.
Unilateral disarmament.
Unilateral disarmament. She doesn't want to engage in that, meaning that the Republicans are going to use all the money that they can to get Donald Trump reelected. So she's going to have to use the same money, the same dirty and corrupt money, but she's not going to be corrupted by it. She's going to use the money to catapult her into the White House. This party, the Working Families Party, that is supposed to be a progressive organization, they're picking a candidate like Elizabeth Warren over Bernie Sanders and trying to suggest that she's the better candidate? Progressively speaking?
See, I think that you would have to do that. You would have to, I guess, present a case so people would buy that. Mm-hmm. Like, which one is the better candidate? What it sounded like he was trying to do is say that they're the same candidate, so that's why we chose Warren.
Right.
They're the same, so we chose Warren. But if they're the same, and you elected to endorse Bernie last time, mm-hmm. but you're endorsing Warren now, to me, you're saying that Warren is better. Right. So I just didn't like his answer. I would have much rather him just say, we think Warren has better policy proposals that benefit the working class more so than Bernie. Mm-hmm. I would have much rather him say that, even if it's not true. Because to say that, to say that they're kind of the same, mm-hmm. and we respect Bernie, is kind of a slap in the face. And it actually doesn't make sense. And you would think Bernie Sanders would be like, I don't know, you would think Bernie Sanders would be exactly the candidate that they would support. I mean,
when has Elizabeth Warren, and look, I'm not saying that she hasn't, but if she has, it has not been put forth. You know, it hasn't been like readily accessible to the media. I haven't seen any pictures of Elizabeth Warren in picket lines. I haven't seen Elizabeth Warren talking about Disney, Walmart, Amazon. I haven't seen this. Now, Bernie Sanders has, going back to 2016, even prior to that. And he's actually made these organizations, these companies, give their workers a higher wage. So the Working Families Party, again, like you said, it doesn't seem as though there could be a better candidate in this race than Bernie Sanders for them. But obviously, Elizabeth Warren is. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. But going back to 2016, you know, I've said many times before that the choice was very simple in 2016. Bernie Sanders or Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton. And we saw that in 2016 as people, I don't know, you could call it waking up. You could call it people just rallying behind a progressive message and actually seeing that it was possible to win on that. And so we were all rallying around that message. We all wanted to see the exact same thing. We were supporting Bernie Sanders, right? And not just because it's Bernie Sanders, not about that fandom. It was about what he represented. It was about the policies that he represented. Now, since then, we have learned that that was a complete fallacy, that a lot of people in that movement, a lot of people that were supportive of Bernie Sanders, were not really supportive of progressive causes whatsoever. I would say that the Working Families Party, I would throw them in the same bucket. Because again, if we note their past with AOC and Zephyr Teachout, it doesn't seem that, you know,
okay,
they're really about that.
Okay, that's fair. So endorsing candidates like that, what does that usually guarantee them, though? Because they are a special interest group. And special interest groups need what?
Access.
Access and money.
Yeah.
Access to donors. And if they can get some promises, if they can make some promises, if they can make some deals, maybe they can guarantee their funding. And so maybe they're making that calculation. Maybe Warren is progressive enough.
That's certainly reasonable.
Maybe Warren is progressive enough.
Yeah, for them.
For them. Now, again, I don't think this. I haven't read anything. Hasn't played itself out yet, but maybe it will later. Maybe they got word from some donors. Maybe they got word from some big donors, like, hey, you know, we'll fund your organization, but only if you
back us.
You know, Warren. I'm not saying that happened, but that could be the case. And so they're making that calculation. That's why I said, you know, maybe they think Warren is progressive enough.
This does not seem like an organic process. I will say that, because again, you're going to have to explain why Warren and not Bernie Sanders after you gave him the endorsement in 2016. And if your answer contains the answer Medicare for all, knowing how Elizabeth Warren has waffled on the issue, if she was strong on it, then nobody would say anything. I believe in that first town hall that she gave into this campaign season on CNN, I believe she was strong on it.
It just seems like not all of them, the candidates that endorse Medicare for all seem to be the strongest from the beginning. From
the beginning. And then they backed off of it, and that includes Elizabeth Warren. I don't really know what Elizabeth Warren wants on healthcare right now. Do you know what Elizabeth Warren, what her plans are on healthcare in America? I have no idea. She says Medicare for all. During the debates, she fights for Medicare for all. But then she still waffles on it. I don't know what she's going to do. And that's a problem, especially given an organization is highlighting that area as a reason for why they are supporting Elizabeth Warren.
We'll see what it does. I mean, is there going to be like more support that she gets from this endorsement?
It's possible. I don't know. It's possible.
Because, I mean, if you support Bernie Sanders, it's not like you're going to switch over to Elizabeth Warren because of this.
Yeah.
So this must be an endorsement that's going to kind of push people who are undecided over, or maybe push people over who let's say the candidate that their first candidate that they support is still in, maybe if that candidate drops out, they'll move over to Warren because of this. I don't know. But is there going to be some sort of like tangible result?
We'll have to see going forward. Like I don't think you can't predict the future right now. It didn't help Bernie Sanders capture the nomination in 2016. I don't know. It's going to be hard to quantify.
Well, one thing I should have looked up. I didn't. How is this vote calculated? Because she got 61%.
Yeah.
And Bernie Sanders like 35, 30-something%.
Something like that.
Okay, like how is this vote like tallied as far as like points? Like, does the leadership get a larger percentage of the vote?
They do. The leadership gets, I believe, 50% of the vote. Yeah. And they will not release the full totals. They won't release
so
the full
when you're
vote
talking
totals.
about rank and file people, when you're talking about rank and file, like the hierarchy that is kind of like the lower hierarchy, right? Bernie Sanders could have had more support amongst the organization as a whole.
Yeah.
But since the leadership gets a larger percentage of the vote, okay, so that might have something to do with it.
Oh, I think it does. I think it does. But that speaks to what this organization is.
It seems like it's a top to bottom, right, and not a bottom up.
Right. I mean, they're trying to present this as a democratic process, but I don't know. I think you're falling short. I think they're falling short at that.
Almost sounds like a super delegate type of thing.
Yeah, it kind of does. Kind of does. All right. So staying on campaign season, actually staying on Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. On The View on Tuesday, ABC's The View, the subject was Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. And really, Meghan McCain, who was one of the conservatives on that panel, she wanted to hear from Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin on the issue of these two senators. And noting that, this is still very early on, and I don't think anybody on that panel has decided, or at least stated how they have decided yet who's going to get their support. She still wanted to ask the question, at this point, who do they support? So this is going to be Sunny Hostin responding to that question.
Yeah. I want to do fast and loose with both of you, Bernie or Warren. Make a choice right now, quick.
Bernie's a little too grumpy for me.
There you go. See, but this is what I mean. The women in my life who are progressive are it's fast. And again, I do this with all my friends, and I have friends that are liberal. I know it's insane, but they're really going to her in a way that Bernie is losing so much support. And I believe part of it is the way he treated Hillary Clinton in the last election.
I think you're not wrong there.
Man. Why you make me do this, dog?
Wow.
Why you make me do this, man?
Wow.
You know how tired I am talking about this? This is
taking it back to Hillary Clinton.
Taking it back to
how he treated her.
Like where it started. I honestly didn't think it was going to go there.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't think it was going to go back to Hillary Clinton. Because I was still stuck on Meghan McCain's women in my life who are progressives. I was like, who are these women? And I was like, I forgot. Like, Meghan is she's a ridiculous conservative. Mm-hmm. Ridiculous conservative.
Right.
Like full stop, unconditionally. Mm-hmm. She's short-sighted and she's dumb.
But she's also a celebrity.
And she's also a celebrity.
But she would rub elbows with other people in the entertainment industry who are not conservative. So people in her life that are liberal, progressive, I can see that. Good friends, maybe not.
Yeah, exactly. But then, what is her perception of what progressive is?
That's true.
Do you see what I'm saying? Because you see it all the time, where it's like anything that is not conservative is all on the same side. Yeah. We see it happen when Mitch McConnell just says all the Democrats are socialists.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anybody that's kind of that doesn't share their ideology is all on the same side. So I don't even know what she means by progressive. But what stood out to you most?
Well,
And
first
that-
of all,
that-
it was Sonny Hostin's response talking about that she can't, she can't do Bernie. She doesn't support Bernie because he's too grumpy. Like that is the most shallow answer that you could possibly hear. He's too grumpy. Okay, when you see Bernie Sanders, they just had Bernie Sanders on. Just, at the beginning of September, really. Just a few days into September, they had Bernie Sanders on. If you took a look at that interview and how he performed, just how he delivered his message, he wasn't grumpy. Nobody could say that he was grumpy. When he is on that stage, when he is in front of the podium, when he's on the debate stage, yeah, I guess you could say that he looks grumpy, but what is the grumpiness towards? Like, why is he so, I guess, animated and energetic? Maybe
I can name a few.
Why is he like that?
I could name a few. Corporations not paying their fair share in taxes. People going bankrupt because they cannot afford medical bills, afford to pay medical bills. He may be grumpy because the fossil fuel industry buys our politicians along with other corporations. He could be grumpy because the minimum wage is too damn low.
So there's a bunch of reasons for his grumpiness, right?
I could keep going.
So if he is grumpy about these particular things, if he's grumpy about how essentially the state of affairs in the United States of America, we're too interested in people suffering. We're too interested in being okay with people suffering. And we don't propose any situations that will relieve that suffering. That's what he's really grumpy about. That's what he's angry about. And it shows in his delivery. Now, if you say that, I would prefer that he kind of has more of a monotone delivery. Maybe, he just, I don't like his facial. If that's what you like, fine. But when you're talking about supporting a candidate, it's not about how they look. And you should know that, since you talk about politics all the time, and you talk about you talk about what is important to you in choosing a politician, right? You're talking about this guy is grumpy to you. You're using that shallow reason to say that you can't support Bernie Sanders. It's not about his policy. If it was about his policies and that you disagree with his policy, I'd say, okay, because Meghan McCain surely does. And I say, okay. Now, I don't agree with Meghan McCain, but at least that makes sense. Sonny Hostin is not saying, no, I disagree with Bernie's stance on the federal minimum wage or the Green New Deal or healthcare in this country or our foreign involvement, criminal justice reform. If she disagreed with these platforms, these policy positions of Bernie Sanders, and she used that as a reason for not supporting him, okay, that makes sense. He's grumpy.
Yo, he mad. My man's mad. That set him off.
That's ridiculous.
This set you off, man. It's like, it sounds like the politically biased version, the politically biased version of how misogynists characterize women who are confident. It sounds like the politically biased version of that. You know what I'm saying? Like how they characterize women who are just confident and assured of themselves, and assertive. What do they call those women? Oh, a woman's a bitch. Bitches. Yes, I mean that.
They should smile more.
They should smile more. So that's kind of what it sounds like. To me, it goes beyond superficial and shallow for me because it just doesn't even make sense. Now, you're talking about a personality trait concerning how someone comes off. Now, if he was grumpy towards people, she might have a point. She might have a point.
If he was rude towards people. If he was
rude and grumpy towards people, then she might have a point.
But he's grumpy towards the issues.
But again, and like you said, he was on the show. He was on the show.
I believe he was sitting right next to her. Sonny Hostin.
So not only is it shallow, not only is it nonsensical from a political standpoint, it's actually disingenuous. It's actually two-faced, considering that he was right there on the show. And
being not grumpy.
Being not grumpy. So if that was a true position, if she truly in her heart of hearts thinks that, like, why isn't that something that she brought up on the show? This leads me to believe that she's trying to make something up, to give herself an excuse to not support Bernie Sanders. You see what I'm saying? That, and she's doing it in the most frivolous way. Like, you're not even trying hard.
No.
You're not even trying hard.
Oh no, it was frivolous. It was shallow. It was disgusting. It was ridiculous. But then Meghan McCain taking it to Hillary Clinton,
like she cares about Hillary Clinton.
Whatever support Bernie is losing, which I'm not familiar with him losing support, but anyway, let's say he's losing support. Go ahead. Let's just accept it as the truth, okay? He's losing support to Elizabeth Warren, and it's about how he treated Hillary Clinton in 2016. You just pointed out how this is kind of like the same thing towards
like
Bernie, like the misogynist, right?
do to women. Like
now, Bernie, again, this whole like what Meghan McCain was insinuating was that Bernie Sanders may have been a little bit misogynist towards Hillary Clinton in 2016.
We heard this. This is like kind of how the Bernie bro narrative started. It started with this kind of, I don't know, idea that Bernie Sanders was rude to Hillary Clinton at some point and engaged in some behaviors that was disrespectful towards Hillary Clinton. When the behavior that we know that people are talking about is just the fact that he ran.
He was just
he was
in the
there.
race.
He was there.
He dared to challenge her.
And that's it. To me, that's what I got. Because at no point when I ask people on social media, I said, hey, I get your point. You're saying that, he's being rude to Hillary Clinton. He's misogynist and being loosely sexist. Can you point to anything? Can you point to anything that kind of proves that? Not once have I heard anybody point to something, a situation that would remotely suggest that Bernie Sanders hates women or is a misogynist or was disrespectful, particularly to Hillary Clinton. The only thing that they ever point to is that situation during the debate where he interrupted her, but he actually didn't interrupt her. She interrupted him.
Yeah, and he said, excuse me.
He said, excuse me, I was talking.
Right.
That is like, they jumped on that. Bernie Sanders interrupts a woman.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember in 2008, do you remember, because Barack Obama was slammed the same way, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. 2008, there was an article, I think it was Salon. It was in Salon. It was 2008. It says like I see the graphic in my head because it's like a graphic of a man like being mean and like a woman standing beside the man like calm down, and it says back off, Obama boys. I was like, and I didn't see that until like after the Bernie Bros
at the time.
Yeah, it was 2008. Yeah. I was paying attention back then, but I don't remember it happening at the time. I wasn't as like entrenched in politics or political conversations as I am now. So I didn't see it. I didn't see that until the whole Bernie Bros narrative took off. Right. And I was like, they're recycling an old ass narrative and they use it against Obama.
But in this case with Bernie Sanders, it's lasting a lot longer. Much, much longer. And think about how ridiculous it is that it's lasting longer too. Hillary Clinton actually lost to Obama. She actually lost to Obama, but the narrative didn't continue. Hillary Clinton beat Bernie Sanders.
And it's still, that narrative is still hurting her now. She been gone. She been gone and it's still hurting her. But like you said, she won.
She won. She beat him. But y'all still salty.
So the Obama boys beat Hillary Clinton, but the Bernie Bros didn't beat Hillary Clinton?
And y'all still salty.
And you're still salty?
That's crazy, man. All right. Got another clip from this, from The View, Tuesday morning. Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg. Okay. So, I think it's... I think lately it's been more apparent than before, at least to me. And that might be, I guess, reasonable for me to say that because I don't usually watch The View. So I don't really know how Whoopi Goldberg, shows herself, how she displays herself on The View. I really don't know. She may do this whole ignorant thing as like a customary thing. I don't know. I don't know if it is or not, but I don't think it's an accident. I don't think, 2 times within a month now, I can highlight to 2 specific moments where it's, her words just, it's dumbfounding. So the first one was when earlier this month, that appearance with Bernie Sanders on The View. And she was really, I guess, enthusiastic about Andrew Yang and about his proposal, about his UBI. Now, she got the details a little bit wrong, but still. So we're going to play you a clip of that just to show you, I guess, kind of just to lead off this discussion.
Okay. Can I ask a question? Andrew Yang was here and made perfect sense to me. And I haven't heard really anybody else in the party, whatever party we're talking about, say, hey, do you realize that if Facebook and Amazon and all the other gigantic corporations paid any tax, we could find some relief for regular Americans.
Sure.
Do you agree with that?
Of course I do. I've been talking about that for years.
Well, no, I haven't. When Andrew came on and sort of broke it down, what he suggested, and I'm sure you know this because you've been spending time with him, but his idea was, if one of those companies gave every American $1,000, people's lives would change. What do you think of such an idea?
But this is what I think.
Okay.
I think that right now, when you have Donald Trump and his friends giving well over $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% and large profitable corporations, I think that's obscene.
Right, but will you change that?
Of course I'll change it.
Well, how do I know this?
Because I've been talking about it for 25 years.
Well, you haven't. Not for me. Not like this. Yeah, but look, it's a little different.
So look, I don't want to get bogged down on this because, again, this is old. But this is just to show you how ignorant Whoopi Goldberg can be. First of all, she got the details of UBI wrong. Talking about a corporation is going to give a grant to people. No, that's not what Andrew Yang's proposal is whatsoever. It doesn't deal with corporations. It deals with the government. It would be $1,000 from the government to every person. And then acting like Bernie Sanders hasn't been advocating for working people forever. Like since he's been relevant in politics for decades, he hasn't been saying the same damn things. You can go back and look at videos, Whoopi Goldberg, what are you talking about? It seems like she doesn't know. Like, oh no, you haven't been talking about it like this. Yes, he has. So again, like that just showcases her ignorance, right? But so on today's episode, Tuesday's episode of The View, she again talks about Andrew Yang's UBI, and she says that she has heard a better proposal. I'll let her tell you herself.
I'm not with anybody yet, but I've heard some interesting ideas. Our friend Mr. Yang, I talked to somebody else who gave me a better idea than even he has.
$1,000 a month?
Yes. What my friend said is maybe the 4 big companies in America, the 4 big American companies that
Amazon, Facebook, Google,
Microsoft, we're almost $1 trillion companies for the 4 of them.
Apple.
They should give each American 2 shares every year. It keeps Americans working with their companies, buying their companies and saying, this is what we should be doing. You should be doing a better job, or you're doing a good job because I'm part of this. I feel like I have something to say about it. They felt that was a better thing because it would allow people to really work around and see how they fit into the wealth scale. They can buy more if they want to, or they can just continue to accumulate it. And he said it's a much better thing. It's better for the country because it keeps, capitalism going. It keeps everybody going, and everybody is part of all of these companies. I like that. And if you don't want to keep it this year, you can sell your shares. So if it's each company does 2 shares every year. I just keep hearing greater and greater ideas. I'm just waiting for somebody to say, we're going to do this. Because you've got to, the government has to say, this is what we're doing, whether it's $1,000 a month or shares. The government has to say, these companies have been built on our back.
Oh, yo, why was that clip so long?
It was too long.
Yo,
it really was too long.
Yo, why was that clip so long? I was like, yo, this is like a kind of a Biden ramble. Her friend proposed this. You know what? I'm glad she didn't do? Well, I'm not glad. I'm pretty sure her friend's not glad. Is that she didn't name drop that friend.
Oh, man, that would have been bad. Especially if this friend is known to people. I'm no economist, or economist. I'm no economist, right? I don't live in the finance world. I don't own any stock. Wall Street, distant from me. As far as I know, I don't believe the government can mandate a private company to give shares to all Americans. As far as I know, I don't think the government can force a private company to do that. With my limited knowledge, I don't think the government can do that.
I'm interested. I'm interested on like who would qualify. Talking about age qualifications. Would it be everyone over 18? Would it be these shares start to accumulate and build from the time you were born?
Yeah. And this would happen
every year. You may not have access to it.
2 shares every year.
2 shares every year. I think that's how it would have to happen.
I got the Sonny Hostin face.
I think that was. She was trying to make herself look like she was interested, but it looked like she was more confused.
I'm confused.
She was like, okay.
How you gonna get that done?
How you gonna get that done? How you gonna force a corporation to give out shares to everyone? But that aside, like that kind of nonsensical idea aside, it just seems as if anytime Whoopi speaks about economics, it always seems as if she's trying to like skirt tax reform, skirt actual tax reform.
Yes. And that's
that issue.
Because when Bernie Sanders was there, he talked about that. And she kind of made it seem, she made it seem as though he hasn't been talking about this issue. Because he talked about the 1%, he talked about people that were not paying their fair share. And she asked him, I don't think that was part of the clip that we showed you, but she asked him, are you going to do something about that? And he said, obviously, that's a major point of emphasis in my campaign.
Oh, no.
And it has been.
But she said, I haven't seen it. And I was like, did she just say that? She just said, I haven't seen it. I was like, because you don't care.
You must not.
You know what?
You can't.
She might be telling the truth. She actually might be telling the truth and saying she doesn't see what Bernie Sanders does. She doesn't see what his platform actually is and what he stands on and what he advocates for. Right. That actually might be true. She might not even be lying. But that's actually worse because she is on TV making political points.
Being uninformed.
Like, she has to understand she has a large viewing audience and she's taking political positions, serious political positions. So you would think that she would inform herself on the issues. Well, actually, not just the issues, on the guests they invite on that show. So I'm not going to sit there and saying she's lying. She just may not care about Bernie Sanders. She may already just, I guess, push Bernie Sanders to the side and doesn't even care like what he represents or what he promotes.
That's why I say she's ignorant. I won't call her stupid. I think that stupid takes more intention. Ignorant is maybe you're just not paying attention. Now that might be intentional that you're not paying attention, and that's very irresponsible for somebody, like you said, that is on TV and is talking about politics, talking about specific politicians and issues, and man, that's just a bad look, man. That's just a really bad look, man. You're gonna force corporations, really?
I'm just
liberty and freedom in America. You're gonna force
I'm
corporations.
wondering how she's gonna get that done.
Wow, and that's a greater idea than the incorrect view of what Andrew Yang is proposing. Companies being forced to grant Americans $1,000.
So she couldn't even get that
She didn't even get that right.
So if you're going to bring Bernie Sanders on, a candidate that is up against a number of other candidates, and you're going to kind of compare positions. If you're going to do that, you better have the position that you are bringing to this candidate to challenge them with. You better make sure you have that right, and she didn't even have it right.
And what's even worse is that she got it wrong. Andrew Yang, his position, she got it wrong while Bernie Sanders was there on set. And then she repeated the wrong on another show. So nobody came to you and said, yo, Whoopi, let me talk to you so you don't make this mistake again. Yeah, that's not Andrew Yang's proposition. No.
Yeah, we already know what Whoopi is there for. She is part of that kind of upper tax bracket.
She is.
You know, shows like that, talk shows like that, they're just designed to kind of loosely entertain people. So when it comes to politics, you know, people need to be wary that anytime they offer some sort of stance or position, it's usually rooted in whether it will benefit them or not. Because you know Whoopi. She any kind of tax reform might affect her.
Oh, you know it will.
You know, so they're just banking on people watching her show and listening to her political positions. They're just banking on people just, you know, caring about her personality and kind of buying into her political positions because they like her. That's what they're hoping.
All right, let's move on to Real Time with Bill Maher. On Friday night on Real Time with Bill Maher, Krystal Ball, who used to be a commentator, she used to be a host of her own show on MSNBC, now hosts the Rising on The Hill TV. She was part of the panelists. And of course, much of the discussion is often about politics. And Bill Maher suggested that this might be the time, 2020, where the Democrats' best option would be a centrist. And so this is Bill Maher explaining himself, and Krystal Ball challenging that notion.
I think this might be one of those years where it's the discussion Mike and I were having. It's that they can't get over that centrist versus socialist thing. So Elizabeth Warren at some point takes Bernie's voters. He drops out. It's Warren and Biden. And they go to the convention, and it's deadlocked. This has happened before in American politics, and they need a compromise candidate. I'm looking hard at Amy Klobuchar. You know why? Because, this is not an insult, Amy Klobuchar, I like you, but when they put generic Democrat on the ballot, they win. So if you don't have she's a woman, so that helps, that moves a lot with the rest of wokesters, and then she's
Why do you think that economic populism, whatever you want to call it, socialism, democratic socialism, etc., Medicare for all, is so unpopular when a poll just came out that had Bernie Sanders beating Trump in Texas by more than any of the other candidates? The last 20 polls have shown Bernie Sanders beating Trump. And here's the other thing, though. Meaning that you don't need a centrist to win. Centrism is why we have lost. It's why we lost 1,000 state house seats. It's why we lost the White House. We ran a centrist. We lost.
I'm happy that Krystal Ball was there to challenge this idea that centrism is the thing that's going to beat Donald Trump. It seems as though we have, it seems like we have a case study, like a reference point, something that's maybe recent.
You sure recent? You sure this case study, is not from 30 years ago?
It feels more recent. It feels more recent. Was it Could have been in a state race or something like that. Mayor race.
Because what you're doing is you're
governor,
trying to
something.
kind of search for some empirical evidence to support Bill's position.
Right.
Like you're trying to like play, I wouldn't say devil's advocate. You're trying to say, hey, like Bill has he's reaching for something. He's looking at something.
Yeah.
He's looking at something
The
specific.
evidence supports his position.
Yeah. So you're thinking that there's some recent evidence, or even like not just recent, but like even 10, 20 years ago that would support his point. Because he's obviously reaching for something. He obviously is basing his opinion on something, some tangible events, right?
Yeah. I don't think that's the case. Seems as though in 2016 we had a centrist candidate who was not viewed as too left. I don't think she was viewed as too left. And
she was a woman.
And she was a woman.
Isn't that what?
Yeah, Bill
mentioned
Maher.
that.
He noted that. Look, she's Amy Klobuchar. She's a woman. She's a centrist. She's that kind of. I don't think he said dull, but that's pretty much what he was saying. How she's, there's not a lot of like to her.
So what are you getting at? So
run of the mill centrist is what's going to do.
Okay.
Run of the mill centrist.
Okay, so
and a woman.
Is there a situation we can point to? Any situation that we can point to that would kind of take his point and kind of squash it? Anything recent?
Well, Hillary Clinton did lose in 2016 to Donald Trump.
Not only that, she checks both of those boxes.
She checks absolutely.
She's
she checks
a
both those
centrist,
boxes.
and she was a woman.
Yes,
So,
I think she might have been more left than Amy Klobuchar.
Actually,
I think she might have been.
Actually,
maybe
there's another major box that Hillary Clinton checked, and that was she was well known.
Oh, it's if we're talking about Hillary Clinton compared to Amy Klobuchar,
name recognition.
Oh, they're not even in the same arena. Oh, they're nowhere near each other. Hillary Clinton's a celebrity.
Hillary Clinton's a celebrity. That should have pushed her. That should have pushed her over the top if what Bill Maher is saying is true. Because Hillary Clinton checks two of the boxes, both boxes that he mentioned, and she was a celebrity.
Damn celebrity, man.
That junk is that. John Kerry. Was he a generic Democrat?
I think he was.
Was he a generic Democrat?
John Kerry was not the strongest candidate.
Al Gore.
Again, not the strongest candidate.
I don't think he was a generic Democrat. I think he could be considered a generic Democrat.
When he kissed Tipper?
See, man.
Oh boy.
I wasn't even thinking about that, man. That was so sloppy. That junk was just like,
somebody put the bug in his ear. Oh, yo, you gotta liven this up a little bit.
Bust a slob on us, son. I bet
Dipper.
Yeah, bust a slob on us, son.
Oh,
yeah, what happened to those two dudes?
They lost.
So, what is Bill talking about?
I don't know.
Like, because I thought he was all about facts, right?
Yeah.
But like he was just sitting in that chair and issuing his talking point like with such confidence, and like it like the way he sounded and the way he kind of like presented it made it like some sort of like epiphany.
Yeah, like
because he
never realized this before.
But his epiphany he pulled out of his ass though. It was an epiphany pulled out of his ass. He was like, oh, Amy Klobuchar.
That's the way.
That's the way.
Like even look, we know that Barack Obama essentially was a centrist, right? But he didn't campaign that way. So we're talking about how a candidate presents themselves. Hillary Clinton presented herself as a centrist, even though she called herself a progressive. We know that wasn't accurate, right? Gore, Kerry, these people did not try to fool anybody and was like, oh, I'm a progressive, hey. Or if they did try to fool people, it wasn't successful. You know who they were based on what they supported and what they opposed. Barack Obama, when he campaigned as a progressive. Change, hope, progress, all of that. And a lot of people believed him.
What was Bill Maher's position on Obama? Didn't Bill Maher think Obama was great?
I believe so. I believe so. Amy Klobuchar.
Yo.
Contested convention.
And
then the way forward?
He's
Klobuchar.
He is just way off in left field with this one. Like,
it's ridiculous.
He's off the field.
He's
off the field.
He's ran through the fence.
Like, whoa. Like, this, she would have to come out of nowhere.
And she would. And she would.
She would have to come out of nowhere. Like, who is she exciting?
Come on. But that's not what Bill Maher wants. He doesn't want you to be excited. Generic Democrat. When you put generic Democrats on the ticket, they win.
And because I said it, it's true. That's basically what he's saying. Because it's not true. It's not true in reality. But because Bill Maher said it, it's true.
He still has a TV show, man.
I will say this, though. I will say, maybe he, I don't know what's going on with him, but, maybe he trying to get up in them drawers.
What?
Klobuchar. I'm just saying.
Bill had a name drop.
Bill's a player, man. Bill's a player, man. He gonna work it. Bill's a player. He must be trying. I'm saying. I hope she was watching your show, Bill.
Well, she appreciated that. I mean, she is.
I bet you she should give you a personal phone call, not your staff.
Appreciate what you did for me.
Yeah. So what's going on with you today?
All right. Let's move forward. Okay. We got. Maybe we'll wait because we got these other two. Yeah, we got these other two I want to get to because we said we're going to do these two on the last.
We got to do those two because those are in the, what I'm saying, those are in the tank.
Yeah.
Those are in the tank.
Yeah, we might do that on Thursday. We'll save that. We'll save that one. All right. Felicity Huffman, the actress, known for Desperate Housewives. Recently, she was sentenced to 14 days in a federal prison because of the cheating scandal, because of the money, $15,000 that she paid for phony SAT scores for her daughter. So in addition to the 14 days in federal prison, she received a $30,000 fine, supervised release for 1 year, and 250 hours of community service. She is, she does have to report to prison by October 25th. So 14 days, not a very long time. Her lawyers, her defense team, were requesting no time whatsoever. The prosecutors, I believe, were, initially they sought a term of 4 months in prison, but then they backed off of that. And then before last week, I believe it was September 6th on Friday, they were in court, and the prosecutors had lowered that request to only 1 month in federal prison. So prosecutors, 1 month in prison, her defense team, no prison time whatsoever. The judge decided to give her 14 days. Seems like I think one would call that a slap on the wrist.
I actually think that would be an exaggeration.
You think?
I think that's an exaggeration.
Too tough?
Well, to say that she got a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, no, that's way too tough.
Okay.
She got something else.
What's that?
She got something else. I'm trying to think of like a punishment that's like lesser. She got like 1 minute timeout in the corner.
Like a pillow got thrown at her or something like that?
Pillowcase.
Oh, wow.
Pillowcase.
Okay, a pillowcase got tossed.
Not even
at
a
her.
pillow.
Not thrown, either, like tossed.
And she basically she got to sit in the corner for a minute and think about what she did for 1 minute.
Timeout.
She got timeout.
She got timeout.
Now, that does, kind of start a conversation about punishment.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, concerning a two-tiered justice system that treats certain people differently. And for the most part, I like the way, I like the direction this conversation is going. it's not been centered on just like, hey, why didn't she get more time? It's been centered on, hey, if she's going to get this kind of treatment, if she's going to be treated lenient, why can't everybody be treated lenient?
Right. Why can't you see some type of value in other people's lives? The value that you obviously saw in Felicity Huffman's life.
Yeah, because I think we can look at cases that involve, I guess you would say, fraud on some level, right? And schooling to compare her situation to.
Yeah.
I think we covered them on this show. Right. I don't know if it was officially, but maybe it just got brought up. It got mentioned, I guess, while we were covering some other stories. But this is a kind of a serious occurrence of fraud that involves a major institution. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. A lot of steps being taken to defraud an institution. Like this, it wasn't just about money. Like there was a lot of steps taken like before that. Like the money was given so that there could be like this whole like reality shaped around her kid. So it wasn't just about money. Now, if we're going to talk about like whether her punishment was fair in regard to how much time she got, we have to talk about other situations. Tanya McDowell, she got 12 years for sending her son to school in Norwalk, Connecticut, and she lived in Bridgeport. She got 12 years.
So it was out of district. He wasn't supposed to be going to that school.
Yeah, she was homeless too. She was homeless. She was convicted of stealing an education. 12 years.
Stealing an education.
Stealing an education.
Strong words.
Strong words.
You could kind of assert that's what happened with Felicity Huffman.
You can assert. Yeah, you can assert that. Kelly Williams Bolar. She was convicted of using the wrong residence to get her daughter into a better school district. She got 3 years and was ordered to pay $30,000. Those are situations that involved a parent doing something illegal, by the books, illegal, to try to get their children better education.
Right. And they got punished for it, right?
They got punished
heavily,
severely. And, you know, like, and that's not even doing the most.
No, it's not.
Using the wrong address, yo.
Right.
Just using the wrong address. That's it. That's it. You didn't bribe anybody.
No, that's not some deep level fraud. That's not a conspiracy. That's not any of that. This is conspiracy. But she wasn't charged with conspiracy.
She was not charged with conspiracy. I mean, like, I don't get it. And like, even when you listen to Felicity Huffman, like, reflect on like this whole situation, she talks as if like she had no choice and she was the victim.
Right. Yeah, she does.
One of the statements I read from her said something like, "I wanted my daughter to have a fair shot."
Right. She did. She did.
I was like, what in the world?
Yeah. Actually, we have, because look, okay, the details of this, okay, we talked about how she paid $15,000. That $15,000 went to some consultant named Rick Singer, and it was to, improve her daughter's SAT scores, and it, of course, it just doesn't involve Felicity Huffman. There were a number of wealthy parents that were all, scooped up as part of this federal probe. And she chose to plead guilty. She chose to cooperate with the, with these prosecutors. And it was expected that she was not going to be attacked by the prosecutors. Like, they weren't going to be seeking the most, because she was cooperating, because she did admit fault. But still, 14 days is very light. But anyway, this is what she said, and this was that Friday, September 6th, in front of the judge. She said, I honestly didn't and don't care about my daughter going to a prestigious college. I just wanted to give her a shot at being considered for a program where her acting talent would be the deciding factor. Now, Felicity Huffman and her daughter. Okay, now she had wrote a letter to the judge, Indira Talwani, that's the judge. And she said that she was concerned about her daughter's learning disability and that it would prevent her from being accepted to a college. So in this letter, she said, quote, that was the quote that that was the quote that I just read off to you. But she also said that she thought that her scores would be too low to be considered for college because that's what Singer told her. So she felt like she had no choice but to get her to, I guess, an equal footing as everybody else. That's why she engaged in this. And at first, she didn't. It took her weeks to actually go forward with it. But then ultimately, I guess she was just too scared that her daughter would be missing out. Now, okay, if you accept that argument, which it seems like the judge accepted because she only got 14 days. If you accept the argument that her daughter has some type of learning disability and it did impact her test scores, SAT scores, this and that. Okay, I can understand that. She wants her daughter to be an actress, right? Now, Felicity Huffman is an established actress. Been in the business for many, many years. Are you telling me that she has no connection?
I was about to say that. She has enough money to bribe her daughter into school, but she doesn't have that same amount of money to kind of seek help for her daughter?
Yes.
Or like open doors for her daughter? Based on the access that she has?
She obviously has. And you know what? And look, when I read this and I read her rationale, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Felicity Huffman is a very known name. She has a daughter that wants to get into the field of acting. She must have some type of access. She must have some type of connections that can either place her daughter in a school or some type of environment where she is given the opportunity to learn the business of acting, to get better as an actress. She has to have this, right? So then I found a reference. I found an example, and it was actually by accident. But Maya Hawke, she is the daughter of Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke. She has dyslexia. So when she was in school as a child, she changed schools a number of times because, she was failing, getting bad test scores.
Probably didn't even know what was going on.
Exactly, right? So ultimately, she ended up at a school where it put an emphasis on creativity. And it actually didn't even grade tests. There was no grading. So then after she graduated, guess where she ended up? She went to Gaillard.
Very prestigious.
She went to Gaillard, very prestigious school for artistic ambitions, right? Acting and things like that. She went there for 1 year before she had to quit. You know why she had to quit?
Because she probably got a job.
She got a job acting.
Wow. Interesting. So the whole fair shot thing takes a tumble because
a humongous tumble.
It takes not just because of that situation, because she wasn't actually trying to give her daughter a fair shot. She was trying to give her daughter an unfair shot.
Yes.
Because there are people who are in worse situations than her child as far as, I guess, having some sort of learning disability. Mm-hmm. There are some people in the same situation and worse situations who would not have the financial capability to do what she did, what Felicity Huffman did. So, what about those people? They can't buy their way into institutions.
Absolutely not.
And so when she says fair, you know what she means. It's the same thing that, when people talk about, I guess, society progressing and other people, I guess, becoming equitable or having equity in society, they think that they're being discriminated against.
That's right. Right.
This is one of those situations where when she says fair shot, it's her being able to use her power and influence.
Oh yeah. And that she can't legally use it in this form, so she's being discriminated against.
Yes, that's so when she says fair, it just means like that's a very privileged statement. That's what she really means by fair. Like I should be able to use my money and my power.
She's
to
not
like
able to legally, so it's
so I should be able to buy people off. That is fair to her, because that's coming from a privileged standpoint.
You know, what I take from this really, well, I mean, I take a lot of things, and we've discussed that already, but one question I have is, what is Lori Loughlin thinking at this point in time? Because, as you can recall, there were many wealthy families that were involved in this type of scheme. Lori Loughlin, who is notable for her work on Full House.
On Becky.
She was swept up in this federal probe as well, but she chose not to cooperate with the federal prosecutors. So she is pleading not guilty. Now, again, Felicity Huffman paid $15,000 to this guy, Rick Singer. I believe it is believed that Lori Loughlin and her husband paid Singer like $500,000.
But what did he?
$500,000.
What what? Whoa.
$500,000. $500,000. So that's what I'm just wondering how she's feeling right now, because Lori Loughlin, by agreeing to cooperate with authorities, she got less than a slap on the wrist. She got a pillowcase tossed at her.
And she had to sit in the corner.
She had to sit on the corner, in timeout. What would have happened if Lori Loughlin was just like, you know what, I admit my guilt, I'll cooperate. Maybe she would have got 20 days? She paid $500,000. You would have to expect that it would be a little bit worse. But maybe she gets 20 days? I don't think she gets a whole month.
You see, this is interesting because you have a bunch of wealthy elites pretty much in the same predicament. I would say similar predicament, right? All of them are in the same predicament. But what they're most likely thinking about is how they can get out of it, right? Yeah. As individuals, like we're in trouble. We got to get out of this thing. We got to figure out a way to use our power and influence and money to influence the judicial process so we can get a slap on the wrist or time out.
Right.
You know what would have been better for them to do? To coordinate together.
That's true.
To coordinate together.
Yeah.
To I guess use I wouldn't say use joint counsel, but since they're in the same situation, they could have worked this out together and kind of not been so compartmentalized. Otherwise, she probably would have been in the same situation as Huffman. But see, they're just so.
But see, this is gonna look bad now for Lori Loughlin, because not only did Felicity Huffman admit her guilt, she has now been sentenced. Now, again, it's a, like I said, lighter than a slap on the wrist, but still, it's a guilty plea. It goes down as a conviction. Lori Loughlin, she has not had her case settled. I think this kind of shapes the stage here. This kind of sets the stage that...
Do you think she can kind of flip? Do you think she could flip now? Do you think that changes her approach?
It would have to be a pretty good offer.
I'm pretty sure, her and her lawyers were paying close attention to this. So.
I think the prosecutors would have to give her a pretty good offer. And given how this turned out, again, the prosecutors were seeking 30 days in jail and federal prison. So maybe they offer her, I don't know, maybe they offer her 2 months in jail. I don't know. I don't know.
I think she's probably gonna get off easy. Maybe not as easy as Huffman, but I think
if it goes to trial though.
But they don't know. I mean, but they already got what they wanted for the most part. They already got the guy.
Yeah, they do. I'm just saying, if it goes to trial, I don't think this is gonna have a favorable outcome for Lori Loughlin. If it goes to trial,
and also, there's no way. For Aunt Becky to kind of use the same kind of defense.
Oh no.
No, because they're children. We watched some of her live streams.
Oh yeah. She was not interested in college.
She was like, she made this claim. She was not interested in college. She was just there to party.
That's right.
She even, I think they weren't even in the country when all this stuff went down.
Or they left right after.
They left right after, but like she didn't even want to go to class. She was worried about like traveling while she was in school. She was just there to just have
socialize. That's it. Man.
So it wasn't some like, you know, she had some sort of deficit she had to overcome, some sort of.
So then that's going to be that's probably going to be an aspect of it. Again, I didn't buy the story from Felicity Huffman about her daughter, you know, suffering from learning disability. Not that she doesn't suffer from that, but just that impacted her future as it relates to getting into the acting industry. I don't buy that argument for 1 second. And like I said, I just gave you an example of that with Maya Hawke. So again, looks like the judge bought it though, so that's why she only got 14 days. But what is Lori Laughlin's argument? What is going to be her argument? I have no idea. Like I said, I don't think this is going to play out too well for her, but we'll see. All right, one more that we got for you, and we gave you a prelude to it on the last show. So earlier this year in April, a 13-year-old black male student who attended Barry Miller Junior High in Houston, Texas, showed up with a new haircut. He had the letter M shaved into his hair. So he was told by 3 administrators that the haircut violated the school's dress code, and they threatened to suspend him. So to fix this very menacing and disrupting haircut that this 13-year-old black male student had, they decided to use a black permanent marker to color it in. And I know that sounds pretty unbelievable, but we do have a picture to show you.
You know, when I read the story, I said, man, this cannot be true.
No.
This cannot be true.
Yeah. So as you can see, you can kind of make out the black marks and the M. Now the problem was that when these 3 school officials, when they colored in the M, it ended up being more prominent. It ended up causing more of a distraction because this was black marker. So since it was even more visible now and creating more of a disruptance, I guess, they chose to do something else. And what they chose to do was to color in his entire scalp with the black permanent marker. His whole scalp they covered in black marker. And so now, as you can probably, you probably know where this is going. There's a lawsuit being filed by the boy's family. And named in the lawsuit is the Pearland Independent School District, school principal Tony Barcelona, who was an assistant principal at the time, discipline clerk Helen Day, and teacher Jeanette Peterson. So in the lawsuit, it states, quote, "They laughed as they took many minutes to color 13-year-old JT's scalp, which took many days of scrubbing to come off. JT was immensely humiliated and shamed," end quote. The district has not responded legally to this lawsuit as of yet. At the time, earlier this year, they said in a statement that using a marker, quote, "is not condoned by the district and does not align with appropriate measures for dress code violations," end quote. Now, it didn't start off as a lawsuit. The family did try to, I guess, connect with the school district and try to reach some type of agreement. I don't know, training, make sure this doesn't happen again, this and that. I don't know. But that did not go anywhere. And so that's why the lawsuit was filed. And so they are seeking compensation now, which I believe they should receive compensation.
I have no direct ties to the situation. That family, that young man that went through that. But when I was reading the story, I was outraged. That ain't even my kid. I was outraged reading it. So I could not imagine what those parents felt. I can't. I can't imagine, because I know I'm outraged, and that ain't even my kid. I know if that was my kid, your boy's going up to that school.
Oh yeah,
I'm talking to somebody.
I'm doing more talking.
Somebody gonna get talked to.
Yeah,
and it's not going to. I'm not even bothering to be cordial or nice.
No,
I'm up in somebody's face.
Yeah,
I'm talking about. I got my finger on your forehead. You know what I'm talking about? You know how you used to put your finger or their nose? I'm like
very disrespectful.
I'm being intentionally disrespectful. Like it would take everything on me. It would take my entire life for me not to put hands on on any of the teachers or the faculty members that participated in that. On my time, man. And you got kids. I don't.
Yeah, I got kids. Yeah.
When
I first read when I first read the article, just like you, blood boiling, no connection to this family, this case, none whatsoever. But I'm just imagining my kids, my son even going through this same exact thing. And so actually I started to type something to you, right? And I started to type, I'm calling the police and I'm telling them to meet me at the school because there's going to be a situation. But then I started thinking and I erased it. I was like, no, hold up. I want to put my hands on somebody, so I'm not alerting the police.
Heck no, because you want to do it.
Yeah, I want to put my hands on somebody.
See, I'm making it a spectacle.
Oh, it's gonna be. It's gonna be a situation.
Oh no, it's gonna be a situation.
Oh yeah.
If I don't, because I wouldn't know if I had to deal with a situation like this in the future. I don't know what kind of attire I would have.
Oh yeah, me either.
I don't know what kind of attire I would have at the time if I had to deal with this in the future. But if I didn't have, let's say, like some camouflage or some all black, you best believe before I go up to that school, I'm dressing in some all black. I'm getting me some black boots. I'm getting me like a black beret or something. I'm prepared. I ain't gonna have no weapon or nothing like that because you can't take no weapons.
No, that's a whole nother situation. You don't want that. No.
But I am like I'm when I get to the school, because I'm depending on how close I live.
Yeah.
If I live close to the school, I'm marching all the way over there.
Yeah.
But if I don't live close enough to the school, I'll drive there. When I get out of my car, I am marching. I am marching up to the front. I am marching into the office, and I'll be like, yo, I'm gonna be like cracking my knuckles and stuff. I'm like, yo, where they at? Yo, where they at?
Them three.
Yeah,
them
where they at? Where they at?
They put their hands on my child?
I'm like, where
can you direct me to where they at right now?
I'm like, where they at though? I'm like, no.
Yeah, that would be a straight up angry black male alert.
And I would embrace that alert.
Oh yeah, I would. Man, no, this